It's such a privilege and honour to lead young people at that age.
Like, these kids are so switched on and they're so hungry for God.
One thing that we notice is friendships.
Who you are around most of your time is who you're going to become.
They're not only figuring out their own identity, but they're figuring out who's good for me.
The youth ministry as a leadership factory.
You've always ingrained in us to see them as the now generation.
Yeah. It's every Friday. It is a sacrifice, but it's so beautiful and it's so rewarding.
I think for every youth pastor and youth leader or anyone involved in youth ministry, it's so important to make non-negotiable decisions in your life.
Embrace the stretch. Life is a stretch, and that's okay. And we embrace it, and you know what? God meets us in it, and He graces us for it.
Youth ministry, it's a blessing to church.
Yeah.
Well, that was a great conversation with Nia and Sophia, or Antonia and Sophia. And we've just done a quick swap out. And now I'm sitting down with our youth pastors. Shani, yeah, I went pastors.
Wow.
Oh, you said the word.
Yeah, I did say the word. Usually I say youth oversights or youth leaders, but you guys have been just amazing leaders and pastors. So we should knight you pastors today. Somebody get them a credential. No. But this is Shani and Jay, and these guys are just such incredible humans, but also leaders, and they're pioneering our youth ministry. How good to have you guys on the Parable Essentials podcast.
Good.
How are you guys?
We're good. What
You are
an
great with
honour.
child, by the way.
I'm great with child, yes.
Yeah.
We're just on standby at this point.
Yeah, on standby.
we're good.
It could happen while we film this little podcast.
We'll pray it
That's the
doesn't.
thing.
It could. I hope it does. Because,
waters
and we'll
could
keep
break
the cameras
right
rolling
here.
too, because this would be amazing.
Great
That sounds
content.
terrible. Great content. But you're great with child due in just a few weeks.
Yeah.
But you guys are doing such an amazing job leading our youth and young adults ministry, and I know Laura and I are really thankful for you guys, because they've taken basically what was embryonic and something that was almost like nothing, and you've turned it into something. We've kicked off Friday night youth programs.
So
How's
good.
that all going?
Yeah, I feel like we still remember the day we sat down with you guys.
Yeah.
And originally we planned to go monthly. And so we were sitting in the living room that day in our Parable office. And we were just thinking, how do we launch monthly? Do we do it at the start of the month or the end of the month? And then by the end of the conversation, I think it was Laura who just leaned over and kind of said, should we just launch this thing?
Wow.
And I think that's been our attitude from the start.
Yeah.
Like, I know for us as well, it's just like, let's jump into it.
Wow.
Like, we've got incredible young people right in front of us.
Yeah.
We're excited for the days ahead, but like right now, we're just enjoying the ride. And
So good.
Yeah.
Well, not only just as a lead pastor, but as a parent, it has been the greatest blessing, particularly for us as we transition. But not only have we transitioned, like our kids have transitioned, and going from such an incredible, amazing youth ministry, and then in some ways you feel like you're starting again. But to watch our offspring take ownership of youth and be excited about these early days of youth ministry. For us as a parent, you couldn't want anything more than that. Wow. And to see her relationship grow. And so I just wanted to say thank you for saying yes to the call of God, because as a parent, it is blessing us. And, I hope I don't embarrass my daughter, but even just walking into a bedroom sometimes, I just storm in sometimes because I'm like Kramer and Seinfeld sometimes, just walk into their rooms. That's what dads do, right?
That's your job.
But I just love it. I see her so many times. She's reading a Bible. She's got worship music on. And I just think that's a big, big shout out and credit to you guys for believing in our young people. And I love it because, I feel like I've been saying this a lot, but I was a youth pastor for 14 years, and I think it's just some of the greatest it's such a privilege and honor to lead young people at that age, because you're leading them at very formative years
definitely.
and life-defining, shaping season of their life, you know. But how's it all been going? Tell us a little bit about youth, but I also want to talk about like you guys being in youth ministry as well. I've known you guys since you were kids as well, and so to see you grow up, sorry, I don't mean,
we love it. We'll take it.
but to see you guys mature, how's that?
No,
and then now lead young people yourself. It's been so cool to see that journey. But how's youth all been going? And give us a little bit of a praise report. Or
I think it's been like honestly the biggest blessing for us to like we leave feeling blessed and we feel like our cup gets full. But I think we're really blessed. We have a great team. Like I think youth and having a program that goes every single Friday, it requires a team and it requires consistency. And so I just would shout out our leaders actually, like credit to them for putting the hard work in. And then obviously the kids, they're incredible. I think one thing we always felt was 1 Timothy 4 verse 12, to not let people look down on you because of your age.
Good.
We've always felt that like from when you guys first asked us if we would do this, that was something that we really prayed for, and the verse that we really felt was put on our heart for this youth and these kids. And man, it's so true. Like these kids are so switched on and they're so hungry for God. And I think it's actually such an honor that we get a place that they can come every Friday and they can worship God, they can build connections, they can get planted, they can serve. It's such a beautiful thing. We grew up in youth, so like we know like how blessed we were, but I think it's important, like the reason we're probably in church is because people poured into us as young kids, and people spent time pastoring us as young kids and invested those Fridays and sacrificed their Fridays for us as kids. So I think it's a beautiful thing, and it's something we've got to keep nurturing, is that now generation, like the next, but also now. And just keep speaking life into them. And they're going through like such pivotal moments in their life, and they're dealing with very real problems and very real situations. So we take it with like such a healthy weight that we get to steward and carry that with them and walk that journey with them. But
I love that. It's so true. I think the biggest key to youth ministry is obviously not just the young people, but your leaders. And because it's them and it's you guys that are discipling young people, and I think the strength of every youth ministry is discipleship and being in young people's worlds and knowing you know the details. And it's been cool to watch you guys do that and raise up leaders and to do that as well. What are some of the common threads that you're noticing in young people today and the ones that you guys work with? Like, is there a common thread that you notice that young people are kind of walking through today, spiritually or, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally?
One thing that we've spoken about a lot, just in our chats with our young people, who are incredible, by the way, shout out to anyone listening who might come along to Parable High. But one thing that we notice is friendships. That's been a really big thing for us. And I know, like, obviously we come from a great legacy and youth ministry that you guys led for a lot of that time. And I remember those days where you would preach messages, or Laura would share messages, and they'd speak about, you know, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Or you're the sum of the 5 people closest to you, and those kind of ideas. And I think, like, when we're having conversations with young people these days, they're going through similar challenges. They're not only figuring out their own identity, but they're figuring out who's good for me, who should I be around, who's helping me shape myself in these formative years, what are the voices that are speaking into my life. And so I think a really common kind of thread that we've noticed is these friendships, and that's been a big focus for us across the last term of youth, how to build godly friendships, how to be the kind of friend that encourages your friends to really go after God. And so that's probably one of the big things that we've noticed.
It's so true, because like young people, and I feel like they're still the same, even 15 years ago I feel it was the same, like they don't care about so much what happens at youth. They just want to know that their friends are going to be there. And I think, honestly, it's still the same, because friendships are everything. And I remember when I was a teenager, it was like, I'll go to anything and I won't go to anything. Like, it's all based on my friend's going to be there, you know, and I think it's so good because, you know, Jay, you touched on it all. Like friendships are a big deal, and I mean friendships are always going to be a big deal, but particularly as a young person, who you are around most of your time is who you're going to become. And the reality, you know, being now 20 years since I finished high school, wow, I feel old, is the reality of seeing some of the friendships that I grew up with. Some of them remained the same, some of them went off track, and it all came down to the people they hung out with. And so what are some of the biggest challenges that you're facing as a youth pastors right now, like leading youth ministry, especially starting it from scratch? We don't have a building yet.
That's right.
But, you know, you what I love about you guys, you're innovating with what you have. And it's really easy as a youth pastor to go, well, we don't have this budget and we don't have this resource. For us, we don't have this building and we don't have... It's been cool to see you guys make the best out of what you have. But what are some challenges? What are some things and some things you've just kind of had to navigate?
Yeah, I think... like this is our first time kind of doing this, so it was a big step for us. Trying to navigate like leading a team and doing it really well. Like our heart is that we want to disciple and grow our leaders and invest into them. So trying to do that the best we can and trying to make sure Fridays that when the kids come, it's set up for them and everything's running smoothly. There's always that like, you know, we kind of speak about it a bit, but that spirit of excellence and doing things well is really important because you don't want to take things lightly. You don't want to do things like half-jobbed. So I think really trying to like make it a place where these kids feel is fun for them. They feel safe. They feel relaxed. They can just be themselves. That's been something that we're winging it. Like we take it week by week. And we're really grateful for the leaders that we have over us, like you and Laura and the leadership team that's over us. We couldn't do it without the support. So we're very grateful to that. But yeah, just trying to make it the best place for these kids.
Yeah, and one thing we've always had a conviction about, and we've spoken about this as a parable team lots, but it's just using what you have. It's like, yes, other churches do have bigger buildings. Other youth ministries may, have different resources that we don't. But we've got things, and God's entrusted people to us, and He's given us a certain amount of resource for now, and we're just going to use it, and we're going to glorify God through it. And even kind of touching on the youth kids and just using what we have and stewarding what God's given us. Like I think about our youth students, like we don't run our social media. They run it and they're better at it. And we're grateful for them because we could not do that. I could do that. Shen may be able to do it because she's good and she's creative. But you just use what you have and you steward the people that you have and you just, you do it together as a team. And so that's a conviction that I think we'll carry all the time, just using what we have in our hands to glorify God with.
I love that. I love that you touched on your young people taking ownership. And if there's any youth pastor watching or listening to me right now, one of the greatest things you'll ever do is get your youth owning areas of your youth ministry. It's the greatest thing you'll ever do. I remember with Laura and I leading youth for so many years, our biggest nights were the nights where young people were preaching, where it wasn't us. Because they'd invite their friends, they'd say, come and, listen to me do a speech or speak, and their friends would turn up. But also, young people will do things better than us. And isn't that the goal at the end of the day?
100%.
Like you guys gave an example of Parable High's shout out at Parable High, follow them. You gave an example how you guys don't you probably oversight it, but it's young people who are creating and I'm like, at first I was like, did we hire like a marketing agency or something? And you're like, no, this is our own students. And I'm like, wow. This is because young people today, they call them Generation C. They're creative. It's all content driven. It's, and I love it, like to see that our young people in these early days are taking ownership themselves because you watch in 3-5 years time, they're the ones that are going to be running church, So what you guys do, I've always seen it as the youth ministry as a leadership factory. It's a place where we nurture and we develop the next generation of Jesus followers, but
Yeah.
leaders as well. And that's what you guys are doing. And that's something I've always tried to instill, even when I was a youth pastor, going, hey, this is like a nursery for the next generation of leaders, which is so cool.
Yeah, and I think you guys do that so well. I think one of the biggest phrases that's always stuck out to us is how you've always ingrained in us to see them as the now generation.
Yeah.
Like, they are not just the next generation, because obviously they will be incredible as a next generation. They'll be the next, pastors, lawyers, doctors. They'll be amazing in the future. But right now, there's so much that they've got to offer. There's so much that they have to give.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just part of who we are.
No, totally. What are some things that stood out to you growing up in youth ministry, whether they were experiences, lessons learned, or things that stood out to you where it was like, oh, I want to replicate that and reflect that? I know we've talked a little bit, Shan, about that, and I don't know if you're comfortable to share, but what was that like for you growing up in youth ministry and having a leader that was connected to you?
Yeah.
What was some of the wins and the ups and downs of that? Being a student yourself,
Yeah.
and now on the other side of that, now you're a youth leader. You're leading the young people.
Yeah, it's massive. It's so funny because I remember when you guys, we first moved to Parable, and we were having some conversations about getting planted and getting involved, and it was so funny because I actually said, I'll serve anywhere but you. I really, I was like, I'll clean the bathrooms, I'll do the kitchen, I'll do anything but actually be in youth. But that was because my experience was I always found that I was so hungry as a young kid to get planted and to be discipled, but I struggled with that a little bit in youth.
Yeah.
And so I think, and that's a good heart check as well, because bitterness creeps in really fast. So it's good to have a heart check to realize, hey, keep a sweet spirit.
Good.
But yeah, I think that's something that I was always like, okay, if I'm ever going to do youth, I want to do it so well and be the best youth leader. And I think the number one thing was consistency.
Beautiful.
Being a youth leader, it's a sacrifice. You're especially young. For a lot of our leaders are so young. They're in their early 20s, like even us, like being a young married couple with a baby on the way. Like, it's every Friday. It is a sacrifice, but it's done, and it's so beautiful and it's so rewarding. And I think when you're doing it because you know that these are God's children, it's so precious. And we do it for an audience of one. We do it for God and to build his kingdom.
Yes, we do, yeah.
So I think when you have that kind of mindset of, okay, if I'm going to be a youth leader, my number one thing is I want to show up for these kids and be consistent. That's what they're after.
Yeah.
I think, well, at least for me being a young kid, I knew that's what all I wanted was just consistency. I just wanted that person that I knew, okay, they're going to be there every Friday. If I'm going through something, that's a safe place for me to go and talk to. There's someone who will correct me when I need correcting. There's someone who's going to encourage me when I need encouraging, speak into my future. So I think that was probably like a massive thing for me. And why I was actually even so hesitant was to literally, because I was like, okay, if I'm going to do be a youth leader, like, this is every Friday. Like, I remember coming home when we were just starting out, and I was like, okay, I'll just fill the gap. Like, I got real convicted by God that it was like, okay, gonna do youth. So I said to Jay, I remember coming home and I said, all right, I'm gonna do it, but like, let's be practical. This is gonna be every Friday for us. This is sacrifice of family time for us, but we're doing it because we know we're called to it, and we know we do it for God and we do it for his kids. And so it's actually, and it's the biggest blessing for us. I think it's so funny. It sounds like, oh, you're outpouring and you're giving so much, but we receive so much back. I think we've had like salvations every single week. Like seeing those salvations every week is the most beautiful thing. And it's our why. It's the why we do it, is literally to see people come to the kingdom of God. So I think that's been like the best thing for us, and something growing up in youth is something I always wanted. And I think it's cool being a leader now and getting to speak on like what I really wanted, I can step into and hold myself to that level too, because we got to hold ourselves to be accountable as well with consistency. But yeah, I think that's a big thing.
I love that. Consistency is always better than brilliance. And what I mean by that is we can get enamored by someone's gift and talent, but it's consistency that outlasts them all. And I think you're so right in terms of young people want the consistency and so on. They don't know that that's what they need, but they know when it's not there.
Yeah.
And I love how you guys talk about, Friday nights because, Friday nights. I mean, you guys could be going out with friends. You're young adults yourself. You're a young family yourself. You're a young married couple. But you made the decision so you didn't have to make the choice. And what I mean by that, I think for every youth pastor and youth leader or anyone involved in youth ministry, it's so important to make non-negotiable decisions in your life. Yeah. And listening to you guys, it's cool because you've made a decision going, these are our Friday nights. It means this. You've counted the cost. You've made the decision so that when Friday night comes up, it's not like, oh, are we going to do this or not? No, the decision was already made. Laura and I, we've been going to youth ministry for 20, something years since we were kids to when we were youth pastors. And, we were into our 20-something year and we're like, wow, can you believe it? We're still, we're like late 30s and we're still going to youth ministry on a Friday night. But it was cool because we both looked at each other and it's like, well, we made this decision, not just the Friday night just gone by. We made this decision, way back when we were younger, 10, 15 years ago, going, Friday nights aren't ours anymore. Yeah. It was to the glory of God to serve a generation. Yeah. And it just sounds like you guys have done that as well. And I think God's going to honour that and bless that. And I think if our young people are listening to this, I know they would be so thankful to you guys for that. Now, you're a young, married, young family.
Yes.
Tell us, how's that been, mixing marriage and ministry and work? Because you guys are volunteers at church, but then you guys have full-time jobs. You're about to become like a full-time mum.
Full-time mum.
Full-time
and
mum.
looking forward to it.
And looking forward to it.
We're so excited.
Tell us a little bit about some of those dynamics and how, what do you got to look forward to and what are you not looking forward to? Tell us everything.
Oh, well, the first thing is we are not experts. We're only still newly married. You talk about church being 18 months young. I remember our wedding date was only just before church moved into the pack where we currently are. Yeah. And so, we're still newly married. We've never been parents before. Yeah. So this is a new journey. We do our best. But you know what? Something you said at an Essentials night that we've had recently with our core team at church, you just said, embrace the stretch. Yeah. And you know what? There are things in our life where it is a stretch. Yeah. We do have full-time jobs. We both have them. We still want to prioritize time for our marriage. We still want to have dates. We have a Saturday morning, so we enjoy going out to a cafe in the city or by the beach. But life is a stretch, and that's okay. And we embrace it. And you know what? God meets us in it, and He graces us for it. Wow. And so, we're just grateful. We're trying our best to serve one another in marriage. Yeah. We'll do our best when this baby comes along. Yeah. We'll take the wise advice of people like you and Laura and all the village around us. Oh, what not to do? Yeah. And we're just doing our best. But I think that's how I'd sum it up. Just beautiful. Embrace the stretch. Don't be scared of it. Don't let it make you shrink back. But I would encourage anyone out there, that's in our position, just embrace it. Yeah. Do what God's called you to do.
Well, they say it takes a village, and that baby is being born into a village. And
she is.
I think everyone can't wait to meet her.
Yes.
And so I had to get that right. There's lots of babies being birthed, and I'm trying to keep up with.
There is a lot
with everyone, but I should remember. It's a she. I was calling it an it just before we turned the cameras on. They're like, it's a she, Toggs. So, but I just want to say thank you again. You guys are inspiring, and I think you guys have such a massive future in front of you, especially when it comes to the things of God, and no doubt for your personal lives, but I think the ministry that's on both of you and the calling that's on both of you, you can see it in what you're doing, and already taking something from the ground up, and you've built something amazing, and you guys should be proud of yourselves. And I'm sure if our young people are listening, they're probably all shouting at their screens right now going, yeah, shouting. But it's cool. And you know what I love is I think youth ministry, it's a blessing to church. Yeah. You can tell when youth are not there, and you can tell when they are there. I'll tell you why. Because they add so much in terms of atmosphere. I love when they come down the front and they're leading the praise songs with us. There's just something about young people that is invigorating and it's contagious. And I want to continue to build that where young people are leading the way in revival, young people leading the way when it comes to passion. They just bring the energy like no one else does, right? And I love that you guys you're cultivating.
You can hear them before you see them.
You can hear them before you see them. And look, they may down the track break things and put holes in walls.
And
so
you're
we'll
going
budget
to
for those sorts of
graciously
things.
forgive us.
Hey, forgiveness is better than permission.
Yeah, we'll
And
take it. We'll
I
take
shouldn't say that as the lead pastor, but that's what I used to say to my senior pastor back in the day, who also happened to be my father-in-law. But no, we're thankful for you guys. Thanks so much for giving us a little bit of insight into leading youth ministry, family, and the next gen or this generation.
Yeah.
We love you guys, and it's awesome to have you guys on the
Beautiful.
podcast.
Thanks
for having us.
us. Yeah.